And welcome back, YouTube. This is BoosterBoxBuster here with another video. Today I got for you my personal top 10 favorite Dungeons & Dragons miniatures from the Underdark set. Now there are a few ground rules that I want to point out before I do this countdown. First off, this is my personal top 10 list. If your favorite mini from the set did not make the cut, I apologize, but that's why it's my list. If you would like to do your own list, that would be awesome. I would love to watch that, but this is my personal list. Second, I'm going purely off of what you could use it for in the actual campaigns, not the miniature games, so this list will have nothing to do with the actual skirmish game that these minis are a part of. Third, in order to keep this list a little variety, I decided that I had to include 2 commons and 2 uncommons, and the rest could be rares. The reason I did that is I did not want this list to be focused solely on the rares, because that would be boring. I wanted to force myself to go through all the commons and uncommons and choose the best from those as well. And the last thing I want to note is I own 58 out of 60 miniatures from this particular set. If I do not own the miniature, it will not be on this list regardless of how awesome it is. So please keep that in mind. I am missing 2 miniatures, and I will list that in the description down below. Which 2 those are. So that's why there's no argument over, hey, why didn't you include that one? Well, I don't own it, so I don't want to include it on a list, because I can't personally judge it until I actually have it in my hand and see how awesome, or not awesome, it is. So with those ground rules out of the way, I think we are ready to start the official top 10 list. Alright. So first up on the board, from the common selection, we have the miniature Lolth's Sting. Now I personally love the Drow that were presented in the original line of miniatures. I think that they are just such an awesome race. Everybody loves the Drow. They are just such cool characters, have such a fascinating history in the D&D lore. And honestly, this could be perfect as just a player character or an actual unit in the Drow's army, or a scout party, or whatever you would like to call it. So this has a very nice versatile use. You could use it as a player character, as an enemy character, or just as an NPC. Very cool overall. And the detail for a common is actually pretty dang good. That is number 10, Lolth's Sting. Alright, so let's move on to number 9. Number 9, representing the uncommon selection, we have the Dire Bat. Now this is a very nice large bat. Large enough to use as a mount if need be. It could be used as just like a leader of a bat organization, and it's ready to attack you, and it just swarms. It comes with like a swarm of bats, and this is a leader. That could be a scenario. This could be the guard for some sort of vampire lair, maybe an underground lair, maybe a vampire's castle out in the middle of nowhere. Or just a regular dire bat. You just happen to wander in its territory and you have to attack it. And if you happen to be playing as some sort of maybe vampire character yourself, you can even possibly tame it and have it as a mount. So you got plenty of options. I love the wings. The detail on the wings is actually really nice. The bone sticking out, of course, a trait of a lot of dire animals. And that gnarly face is just so cool. Honestly, this is a very, very good uncommon miniature. That is the Dire Bat. Alright, so up next, representing the second uncommon slot, we have a swarm of spiders. Now, swarms are always a lot of fun. They're oftentimes just a nuisance to most parties, but if you happen to have some poisonous spiders in the mix, that could always be a little bit of a threat, and you might need an antidote or some sort of curing spell to remove the venom and poison. And just look at all of the spiders piled on there. I love the way that they're piled on. You got large spiders, you got small spiders, you got medium-sized spiders. I mean, it's just a smorgasbord of spiders ready to be smashed to pieces. It's really, really cool, too. I mean, just a lot of detail. It's all just variations of black and gray, for the most part, but for what it is, they did a really, really good job on this miniature, and it's not deflatable either. It's pretty solid all the way through. I mean, you can press down on it pretty hard, and it ain't going to go anywhere. So that's pretty solid all the way through. Just a really cool miniature. More of a nuisance than anything, but for any Drow or Lolth campaign, it is perfect. That is the Swarm of Spiders. And up next, representing the final common slot, then we get to the juicy rares, is of course the Spider of Lolth, or Lolth. Apologies if I mispronounced that. I love giant spiders, and this is the perfect giant spider for any campaign. Just look at that. It is like spot on, like just what you would imagine. Just take a giant hammer and like a dwarf wielding a giant mallet, smashing that thing. I mean, that's like perfect D&D right there. And this is one that you probably want to have multiple of. I mean, imagine having this and having like 20 of them on the board. That's like what you want in a spider swarm of this size. Many different uses could be thrown into almost any dungeon, any underground or cavern setting. Heck, even forest settings this could be placed in. Because giant spiders work in almost any situation. Apologies for the not wanting to focus, but that is the Spider of Lolth. So now we get to the juicy rares. Which one do we start with? Well, I'm not gonna lie, when I first got this miniature, I wasn't all that pleased with it, but after reading up on this one quite a bit, I like it a lot now, and it is really well detailed for what it is. So, number 6, we have Marut. This is one of the 3 inevitables, and this one is perfect. It never wields a weapon. It has no face because it is very similar to like a construct. And it has the clockwork recognitions all over it. Now, Marut is the inevitable of death. For those who cheat death, or for those that do too much resurrection on a massive scale, or liches, this guy will go out and essentially put it into your life because you have extended it too far. And I gotta say, the detail on this miniature is really, really well done. I love the armor is just finely detailed. And would work double as some sort of just regular construct, or even as a giant in armor. So this has very many possibilities for usage. And I like that quite a bit. Marut, number 6. Now we're going to go on to number 5. And that is the Mounted Drow Patrol. Honestly, I was super excited when I was able to get this one. It's just such a fantastic miniature and could be perfect for the patrol of any Drow city. Like, he's just out on patrol making sure there's no intruders. If any intruders happen to appear, he could just basically run away, call for reinforcements, and then bring the entire hammer down on the intruders. I love the green dinosaur. It is really, really cool. And the drow itself is pretty well done. The only complaint that I would say is the drow, when you compare it to other drows of medium size, is actually quite small on there, but when I thought about it, I thought, well, he's supposed to be a drow patrol, so he probably is supposed to be a smaller one, lighter character anyway, especially wearing that armor. And then I thought of horse racing, and you know how jockeys are always smaller because to reduce the weight for the horse, so that's why the horses can run faster? I thought this is probably the same thing at play here. They have a drow who's smaller in size, who can wear the armor and not weigh down the dinosaur, so the dinosaur can still run fast if there happens to be any intruders, so he could run away, call for reinforcements, and then be first to come back on the front lines to attack. So that is honestly probably a really cool thing that they did with that. I guess unintentional, because I doubt that they intended that to be that way, but unintentional ingenuity, I guess, or unintentional intentions. I know that's a contradiction, but hey. I just love the green, how the dinosaur gleams. It's almost like a metallic dinosaur. It's really cool. And I love drow, so of course this had to make the list. Number 5, the Drow Mounted Patrol. Alright, so we're to the final 4. Number 4. We have the Roper. Ropers are pretty cool. They essentially act as, is it stalagmites or stalactites? Whichever one are on the floor. Or they act as like a giant triangular pile of stone, oftentimes waiting in caves or dungeons. They stand still, and as soon as their prey comes by, they attack. They love meat. They will eat meat. Now, of course, the tentacles on the Roper are pretty cool. I kind of wish that they were splayed out a little bit more, kind of like, like going off to the side, just to show just how long a Roper's tentacles actually are. But they were working with the limitations of the packaging at the time, so I can understand why they went this route. I love the teeth and the mouth and the tongue. It's just really, really cool. Look at that. Menacing, almost looks like a mimic. The fact that it really does look like a piece of stone or rock in a cave is really cool. And the tentacles wrapped around itself, they worked with the limitations they had, and I gotta say, it is fantastic. One of my favorite Ropers to this day. The only thing that's... yeah, okay. And you can even see the eye kind of on the side there, very well blended in with the rest of the rock formation. That's really cool. That is the Roper. And honestly, it could easily be used as a... Roper. I was thinking of something else and I forgot. So yeah, I'll leave that in though. I love it. Ever since I got this one, I was a huge fan of it. The Roper. So we have approached the top 3. And I think you're going to be surprised with the number 3 here. It is a bit different than what a lot of people would choose. And this is the Drow Arachnomancer. Combining 2 really awesome themes of the set, Drow and spiders. Man, this set should have had like an aspect of Lolth. That would have been fantastic. Unfortunately, it did not. Now this could easily be used as like a Drow commander or a Drow mage, or basically some high-ranking Drow in an army. Maybe like the leader of a army and you have to take it down, the spellcaster of the army. Or it could be used as intended, that of an Arachnomancer. And the miniature itself is really, really cool too. The flowing white hair on the back, the red cape, the really nice armor detail. I mean, that's a lot of detail for that small of a miniature. That is really, really well done. And this could also be used as a very nice Drow playable character as well. If somebody wants to be a Drow wizard, or not a wizard. You're a wizard, Harry. A mage. Sorry about that. But yeah, I absolutely love this piece. It is fantastic. The Drow Arachnomancer. Now we've made it to the final 2. Has your favorite made it on the list so far? No? Sorry to hear that. How about now? Number 2. The Iron Golem. This is a fantastic, fantastic piece. The ironwork on it is top-notch. I love the red visor there. Almost reminds me of like the robot from The Day the Earth Stood Still. Very cool. The The sword is perfect for it. The back has a lot of rivets, a lot of just nice ironwork. And it just looks fantastic. This would be perfect for any, the perfect miniature for anybody that needs an Iron Golem. This also reminds me a lot of the giant suits of armor from Final Fantasy. A nice little tie-in there if you're doing some sort of like crossover campaign. Just a fantastic miniature overall. Very happy to have it. Before I reveal my #1 favorite miniature from the set, I want to do a few honorable mentions. Ones that were good, but just not quite good enough to make the list. First up, this one just missed the list for me. That is the Large Deep Dragon. I love this miniature. It is so cool. The wings look really, really cool. I love the silver and deep, deep purple color of it. The snake-like neck of the head, the snake-like neck going up to the head, very, very cool. And the scaling is just fantastic. The only reason it missed the list is because I do not consider this a large dragon. This is more along the lines of a medium dragon. But very, very cool nonetheless. The Large Deep Dragon, honorable mention #1. #2 was the Dragonlock. Another one that just missed the top 10. Honestly, the Dragonlock is such a cool mini, and it could easily be used as any sort of lycanthrope or werewolf. It could even possibly be used as some sort of demented, or maybe even like a lycanthrope night hag, if that couldn't even work that way. I don't even know, but it's just really, really cool overall. The Dragonlock was the second honorable mention. And the third one, this one, I very teetered on. It was the first one to go out on when I had the final pile. And that is the Death Slad. Now, the Death Slad is cool. However, just something about it, it's very, very close to what the original concept art is. It just didn't hit the marks for me as the other miniatures did, though. Death Slads are really cool. They have a really cool origin. Basically, they're like I wouldn't say king, but I'd say like the most dangerous of the Slads. They are ruined by chaos and desire nothing but the death of others. And they can command all other Slad purely out of fear. And honestly, that's kind of a cool concept. And if you need a player character Slad, this could work really well as well. The Death Slad was the final honorable mention of this video. Now to #1. You probably know what #1 is if you know the miniatures of the Underdark set. I was lucky enough to pull this from a case before I started this channel, and let me tell you, as soon as I pulled this one, I was like, this is the one I wanted. I could stop opening them, but I continued because I was hoping for other ones. By far, in my opinion, the best miniature of this set, and possibly one of the best interpretations of this monster. #1 belongs to the Baler. I gotta say, this is a fantastic, fantastic miniature. It towers over other normal size miniatures. Look at this. This is a standard size mini. This is a standard size character. This is a Baler. Look at that. It's more than double the size. As a Baler should be. A Baler stands roughly 12 foot tall according to the Monster Manual 3.5 edition. And it is one of the most imposing monsters that you could ever run into in any sort of campaign. The boss monster for sure has its lovely flaming sword in one hand and its whip of fire in the second hand. And the wings are so cool. It actually kind of helps keep the miniature up. And the wings in the back actually kind of keep it from rocking over and falling over. That's very nice. A very nice little, I don't know if that was intentional design, or if it just was luck, but it works really nice to keep the miniature from tipping over from the weight of the wings. The muscles are rippling. The loincloth is the perfect coverage for any potential wardrobe malfunction issues. And I gotta say, the Mad Max-like mohawk is fantastic, and I love the horns. I mean, this looks like it just walked straight out of Doom, the video game, or, you know, it would put Hell Knights to shame in Doom. It is fantastic. I love this miniature. The most boss monster of all boss monsters. Only thing that can rival it is the Pit Fiend. That is Baler, the #1 miniature from Underdark. Well, that concludes my top 10 video of Dungeons & Dragons miniatures from the Underdark set. Did your favorite miniature make the mark? I don't know. Please let me... Please, if I could please speak right, comment in the comment section down below what your favorite miniature is from the Underdark set. You know my top 10? I would like to hear your top 10. Until next time, if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. If you want to see future content like this, please hit that subscribe button. And if you want to check out a past video on this channel, it should be appearing right about now. This has been Booster Wax Buster with my top 10 favorite Underdark miniatures. And I'm signing out. Peace.